week's episode of What Can We Do to Stop Ageism. In today's episode, we are talking about recruitment and the recruitment process.
Thank you, Sadie. I think in this series, we are attempting to provide some very practical guidance and information to organisations to stop ageism. The recruitment process is one of the three big R's, if you like, of this whole age agenda. We have recruitment, retraining, and retention. These three areas are we're very much aligned to government thinking in terms of what needs to be considered in an age diverse workforce. That these three areas are very important to get right. Now, when organisations think about recruitment, they want the best person for the role. Ultimately, that's what they're looking for. Generally, we consider older people most adversely affected in the recruitment process, but we know it affects other age groups as well. But as I say, organisations want the best person for the role, but if they're not accessing the widest candidate base, then quite often they don't have visibility, they don't have the opportunity to choose the best person. That's because when an organisation advertises a role, maybe through these large agencies, when candidates of various ages, particularly older candidates, apply for those jobs, quite often there's processes or policies in place that actually remove them from the decision process. And we hear various tactics being advised that older people should consider, like, don't put your age on a CV, don't mention your education because that potentially ages you to a certain period of education. So different situations, keep your CV down to your last sort of 3 to 5 years, because if you put older experience on there, again, it pushes yourself forward as an older candidate and therefore potentially will be adversely affected. But as we know from our research and discussion, that type of barrier is not just experienced by older people.
Yeah, I myself, when writing my CV and my education, when we had to do interviews to prepare us for later work, we were told not to put our age on our CV. And you mentioned not to put your education on your CV. You said that just a minute ago. But if I don't put my education on my CV, I don't have a lot of experience. So people can tell my age anyway. This is work experience for me, so I can put that on there, but I will only have a few points. So even if I don't put my age on there, you can tell my age anyway. So it's a bit of a useless like a tactic for me to use, or other younger people to use, because you already know our age based on what our CV says.
Exactly. And I think this is absolutely one of the biggest barriers to the whole recruitment environment, is this tactical thinking, tactical approach that we think we have to do, how we present ourselves, because of that bias that we know exists. Every single day we hear from people who have poor experiences in the employment environment, in getting into the workplace. So a very practical change of behaviour, of action on behalf of the organisation, what the organisation can do is just to be completely open and considerate to people of all age groups, and actually think about what you want for that role. And surely the more you know about an individual, the more you'll be able to reflect and understand if that person is right for that role. So if it's a person with more experience, let them show it. Let them have a CV that's more than 2 pages long. Let them show their education that could be very relevant for what you're looking for within the organisation. Let a younger person absolutely display their age, if that's necessary, their education, but just to showcase that individual, whatever level of experience they have, has seen your role as an opportunity to add value to that role, want to be part of your organisation. An organisation should not have these age barriers, rather be more considerate, more open, to have a wealth of different experience, a wealth of different education, a wealth of different know-how and competence. And if you can't find that access to that wider age group through your, let's say, traditional recruitment channels, then consider specialist channels. There are a number of channels out there that give access to different groups, like Mumsnet for return to work mums. There are organisations that are there that focus on people that have left the services and armed forces, for example, where there's some great skills and education within those areas that could really add value to your organisation. And for ourselves, we offer a conduit through our employability division to a whole group of people that maybe otherwise you would not see. So as part of our Champion Partnership Programme, we encourage all our organisations to showcase their jobs through us that will be viewed and accessed by a completely wider demographic, as I say, than you'd normally see. So this is such an easy thing to do, and actually it will help with your decision process to get the right person for the job. So make this small change, but really impactful change, because you will ultimately benefit from that.
Thank you, Steve. I think that about rounds up today's episode. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.